welcome to a very interesting lesson, the scholar's mother tongue. So have you ever wondered why they always say mother tongue and not father's tongue? Yes, that's because mother is considered to be the greatest of all the living beings. That's why we say the scholar's mother tongue. Alright? And who's a scholar here? Yes, a very learned person who knows everything. And it's such an interesting lesson. You'll realize yourself what to do and what not to do. Alright? So let's go on to the scholar's mother tongue. So if you see here, there's some pictures over here. What do you see? A scholar over here? Yes. And somebody over here who's challenging that, hey, come on, can you guess my mother tongue? Yes, that's it all about. A very interesting lesson, a very interesting story which will take you to great heights. Alright? So here, if you see, there's a scholar here. And when I say scholar, you need to be such a scholar that you need not prove yourself to the world that you're a scholar. You just go and people know you. But here, he's going and proving that, see, can you guess my mother tongue? I'm a great scholar. Here you can see a scholar who is there, who has realized himself and who's become one with the God. So here is a scholar who's become one with the God, and here is a scholar who is wanting to prove himself as a scholar. Which one would you love to be? Well, it's better to be this one rather than this one where you have to prove yourself as a scholar. When you're a scholar, when you're a jnani, you need not prove. Your presence itself proves what it is. Let's log into this. Okay, what happened? So this is a story about a Pandit, a great scholar who once wanted to prove that, yeah, I'm a great scholar and who can challenge me, alright? And who can challenge and anybody who can pick up my mother tongue and you'll win. And there, when you start getting that ego that you're good, ego, he goes. Swami says, ego, he goes. The moment you get the ego, you're gone. So, here's what happens when you have an ego. Alright? So here, let's start. So a learned Pandit once visited the court of Akbar. You can see Akbar here. Alright? He once visited and he wanted to tell, okay, alright, I'm the great scholar over here, and see, can anybody prove my mother tongue? So everybody said, yes. Alright? So then he told the king and the courtiers that he had the mastery over different languages. Indeed, the scholar had a mastery of various knowledge of various languages. He had a mastery of so many languages. And when you get something, you should not get ego. The moment you get ego, you're gone. Alright? So, in this regard, I remember a quote of Sri Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Okay? He says, do not stop your foothold on earth while sweeping the skies. Okay? Mind your foothold on earth when you are sweeping the skies. It means when you get great, go up, you should not have that ego. You come down. The scholar is the one, if you're really scholar, you are silent and everybody recognizes. But here, he wanted to prove himself. And he says that he had mastery of many different languages. And he says, yeah, I got to know so many languages. I know so many languages. Alright? And the Pandit could speak many languages. Alright? So he was fluent that nobody could find out what his mother tongue was. He spoke so many languages. Usually what happens when you speak in your mother tongue, that's very fluent, and whatever comes out, it's very fluent. But that was not in case of this scholar. He had fluency of all the languages he knew. So many languages. You ask him Tamil, you ask him Telugu, you ask him English, you ask him Kannada, and so many of them. He used to just go on and on. And then one by one they started asking. Then he started speaking one language. Then one courtier says, "No, it's English." Then says, "No." Then he speaks another. He says, "Yes, it is Tamil." He says, "No." Then he speaks another language. No, it is Hindi." "No." So everybody was perplexed. What do we do to this? And how do we find out this mother tongue of the scholar who has come to prove himself? Now there comes, if we don't prove that the scholar's mother tongue, then the scholar will win and he'll have so many accolades, and it will not bring that great things to the king. So the king was perplexed and he says, "What should I do? What should I do?" And he's thinking. And when you think, you get the solutions. When you pray, tuck comes the solutions. Okay? So he challenged everybody at the court to name his mother tongue. And he told, "I have a mother tongue, and let's see who can find it out." Okay? And the person who finds out, hats off to him. Alright? When everybody failed, the challenge was taken up by Birbal. So Birbal, you might have heard of Akbar and Birbal. So Birbal was the most intelligent personality with Akbar. Give him any problem, give him anything, he would solve it. He would solve the mystery. And somehow or the other, he'd solve it. So everybody tried, they applied. Okay, everybody tried to prove this is a mother tongue, this is a mother tongue. No. Then everybody tried. He was so fluent that nobody could get his mother tongue. And then came the turn of Birbal. So Birbal had his own ways of proving his mother tongue. Alright? And he has his own ways, and he came and says, "I'll take the challenge." Then he told, always when Birbal would take up the challenge, he would take a day or two. Then he told, "I require some time." So the king said, "So be it. You take some time and prove yourself." The scholars challenged him. No. You can't prove my mother tongue. But Birbal says, "Hey, let's see that afterwards." And everybody was so happy, they started clapping. Bravo, Birbal has taken up the challenge. Wow, great. So what happens? Birbal was very intelligent, and then he thought of a plan. So what did he think of a plan? The plan was very great. So what did he do? That night, Birbal went quietly into the Pandit's room. Alright? It's something like this. You want to take something from your room, or you want to walk in somebody's room, but they are asleep so deeply that you don't want to disturb them. Your small tuck will make them, they'll wake up. So you don't want them to wake up. So what do you do? How do you walk? Shh. Right? And that is how Birbal walked into the Pandit's room. Very slowly. And before that, he had something in his hand. Can you guess what he had? Yes, a small feather. Alright? He had a small feather. And what he did? He whispered into the Pandit's ear something. So, when you're sleeping, you're deep asleep, you're snoring, and somebody comes and whispers something in your ear. Hey, hello. You're half asleep. Then you blurt out whatever comes, and that is your mother tongue, right? Usually, whatever you speak when you're in the great distress, or when you're asleep and you get up, whatever you speak, that's your mother tongue. And Birbal knew this technique because he had mastery of so many things. He knew this technique. So what he did, he walked slowly, slowly, slowly. He took a feather and he tickled, ting ring, ting ring. He tickled, ting ring, ting. And that Pandit says, what's this? He again did, ting ring, ting ring. He tickled and said, that Pandit was, half asleep. He just woke up, and he woke up half asleep, and then he whispered into the Pandit says something, and he tickled it with the feather. So the Pandit was half awake. He cried out suddenly and shouted the words in his mother tongue. All right, suddenly started shouting in his mother tongue. Oh, Emidi, oh, something he shouted, and then the Birbal came to know his mother tongue. Alright? And that's how this Birbal found out. So Birbal felt very happy. Yo, I won, yo. So how do you feel when you win? You take up a challenge and you win. How do you feel? You feel very great, very happy, very blissful, right? So did Birbal feel. And he got it. I told, yes, I got it. Yes, I got it. And again he went back outside his room. Ting, 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 ting. He went out as he had come. And the Pandit didn't understand anything and he was again snoring. The Pandit was snoring again. Right? So, next day, the Pandit didn't know anything. But Birbal knew everything. So, next day was a very interesting day. Alright? So, what happened? Birbal came to the court the next day and Akbar was so happy. Huh? You found out his mother tongue? Wow! Wow! Tell me what you want, I'll give everything. So the king was so happy and he said, bravo Birbal, bravo! Alright? So, and told everyone that the Pandit's mother tongue was Telugu. How did he find out? So as we saw in the previous slide, so when he tickled, oh, Emidi, Yavaradi, oh. So he came to know that the Pandit's mother tongue was Telugu, and that is how he put it across. Alright? The Pandit was surprised and accepted the truth. Everybody was, everybody gathered there, and there walks Birbal majestically. Yeah. And there he walks and everybody says, wow, Birbal has found out. Wow, very good, very good, very good. And then Birbal says, Your Majesty, his mother tongue is Telugu. What is it? Telugu. And everybody says, and the Pandit is surprised, taken for aback and says, huh? Is it so? How did he find out? He says, that is very simple. Need not worry on that. And everybody said, and the Pandit accepted and said, yes, that's my mother tongue. And everybody praised. Birbal said, bravo, very good, very good, very good. And everybody was very happy. The Pandit said, yo, correct. And then he also told the king how he had secretly gone into the Pandit's room that night to find the truth. He related everything to the king. He told, he told to Akbar, and see, I did it like this. See, Your Majesty, I just went slowly into that room, tickled, he was fast asleep, and I blabbered something into his ears, and he spoke in Telugu, and that is how I came to know his mother tongue. Isn't it? So whenever you get such opportunities to prove, use your head. Alright? And never overprove yourself. You get something very great, you get powers, or you get something nice. So you should not get flattered. You should not say, now I have so much, ho, ho, ho. Then God will automatically bring you down. Alright? So Swami says, however high you are, whatever you are, come down to the earth. When you're down to the earth, humble, you will get so many things. Be simple and sincere. That's what Swami tells. Never have ego. Ego, he goes. Alright? So that is how it was proved, and the Pandit accepted his mistake and he told, yes, I should never had gone to prove myself. So when you get, suppose you score out, you're first top ranker in the class, you're topper in the class, and you feel proud, I'm the topper, then somebody will topple you off. So never have that ego. Whenever you have something, feel very humble. Swami also says, when you have knowledge, when you share it, it becomes more. That's the only greatest thing. When you share knowledge with everybody, it becomes more. So when you have a great knowledge with you, share it with everybody. Don't keep it with you. Alright? And don't feel egoistic that you have this one, that one. Who knows? That might not be there one day. You should be proud of having the Lord gifted you this birth of redeeming yourself. Alright? So here, let's say how you test your skills. Alright? So try to answer these questions. Go through your textbook. Try to answer this question. There's glossary also. Go to the glossary. There's some question answers. Answer them and come back. Alright? So who came to Akbar's court? So trying to answer this. And then what did he claim to know? How did he challenge everybody? How did Birbal discover the scholar's mother tongue? So these are the questions for your skills. Alright? So test your skills. Everything is there in the slides. So go through the slides, all the slides once again, you will come to know. Alright? And so remember one thing, never ever have ego. Leave off your ego. However knowledgeable you are, however great you are, never have ego. This reminds me of a great personality, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He had such a knowledge, such a great personality, but he was down to earth. You would have heard about him, you would have read about him, you would have seen him. He was down to earth personality who proved himself through his work, through his humbleness, through his greatness. So seeing all these things, so all the best for the next one. Thank you and all the best for your next lesson. Sai Ram.